brothers and sisters of the Mojo sales team. We gathered today in solemn remembrance of a dear departed comrade. Brother Ivor, would you address the congregation, please?
Thank you, Reverend Russell. Welcome, my fellow salespeople, my closing mofos, my sales mojos. Yes, it feels like yesterday that we rejoiced and frolicked in attaining our common goals. In fact, it was yesterday. But today we have lost a steadfast partner, one we have grown to appreciate and count on for total support and lean on like the giant tree of success that was. Together we worked hand in hand through the trials and tribulations, smiles and trepidations, victories, defeats, and near disasters. But through it all, we emerged consistently unscathed and celebrated regularly at the Mexican restaurant as if every day was Cinco de Mayo.
Si, senor.
Alan, can I have a little morning music, please? My Mojo sales team, closing mofos everywhere. Today, for the first time, we're trying to make sense of this tragic loss. I have come to absolute terms with the realization that when we farm our land and pluck the last fruit before sowing new seeds, before praying for rain, regardless of how much we pray, if the rain does not come in abundance, we could indeed be forced to exist on the bitter fruit as happened today.
Yes, sir, I hear you.
I speak, of course, of the loss of our biggest customer. Our order taker, our bonus maker, that account which was always there when quotas were near, the perfect customer, yes, an account that overlooked late delivery, price increases, and even shipments arriving in pieces. This account who, when things went wrong, just like loving family, closed the door and said, well, back to the drawing board, is sadly no more. And woe on us what to do.
What do we do?
Well, there's no getting this account back. No defense to stop what has already transpired even. You think eulogies are easy. This was not like being at sea and seeing a storm off in the distance and hurrying and scurrying and frantically battening down the hatches to protect your precious cargo. No, this was a surprise, swift wind in the night which sent you uncontrollably off course, with your charts and maps blown overboard, lost to unforgiving depths. Why didn't you see this storm coming? Was it Cinco de Mayo again? Where was your crew?
Where were they?
Were they out with you, reveling in the merriment and guacamole, unaware of the ill wind change in the air? For it wasn't them that made this change, it was the purchasing auditor in the basement office below who dealt you this life-changing blow. Unaware and worse, uncaring of the relationship with you and your customer had created, uncaring of the quality and workmanship being tossed overboard in this self-created storm. Yes, brothers and sisters, by virtue of a few scribbles on the bottom line of a piece of paper who very, very few people will get to see, like an axe through the head that quickly ended the reign of King Edward III of England, this counter of beans, with a single stroke of his pen, has ended your reign in your largest customer and brought cheap crap in from China.
Donald Trump, where are you now that we really need you?
Well, wait. All's not lost. Let us not dwell on the negative. The good news, sales team, then there's always good news at the loss of this major player. This eye-opening event will help us grow to be even better, stronger, and close more and more deals. Why, you ask? Because now you are unfettered with two empty hands with which to gather and grasp new business, and you're a salesman with empty pockets yearning to be filled with commission. We who toil with our minds and mouths need only hit the rewind button and get back to basics to control our destinies. Remember, it ain't over till the fat lady sings.
Sales team, the answer to these and so many other questions comes right after this break.
The opinions expressed in the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
This is the Sales Mojo Show. Our goal is to help you become a closing mofo. Did I just say something naughty?
Welcome to the Sales Mojo Show. I hope you have all gotten past the grief and misery of losing that big account. I know I lost one today. I lose one every day.
What?
The key is to gain 5 for every one you lose. But before we go there, I'd like to thank Culligan for helping me manufacture these tiers.
Culligan. Better water, pure and simple. Purified drinking water from Culligan. And if you need help from Culligan because they can handle your house, your business, they can ship right to you, they do everything to make you happy with the water that they serve. Give them a call at 561-331-3252. That's 561-331-3252.
And Culligan gave me a call and said their phones are ringing. There are people getting whole house systems. They're getting water softeners. They get that hardness and color out of the water. They're putting the new bottleless water coolers in their offices.
Fantastic.
So you don't have to drag bottles up and down. And, of course, there's always the drinking water. So we are very happy and proud to have Culligan support us, and we support them in kind.
And they're looking for some sales managers, so give them a call. 561-331-3252. Culligan, water pure and simple.
And tell them who sent you.
And tell them that this is true.
Oh.
The voice from above. Tell them the Sales Mojo Show sent you.
Okay.
In case they don't ask, we
Got to put that stamp on it. There you go.
Well, you certainly did
He's
that.
teaching me. I'm learning.
Very good.
He read a copy of Dinosaur Droppings.
Oh, he did?
Well, either that or he's keeping his coffee table even with it. I'm
Did
not sure
you
which
find this
one.
book politically correct?
I only got to the first quarter of it. I haven't finished it yet. He just gave it to me this weekend.
You got to spend more time in the bathroom. I think it's all diet.
What do you think? I'm Evelyn Wood speed reading?
Love it. I love it.
That's sped reading. I got to tell you, let's start with a little story here. Guy sits down at a bar and he's ordering drink after drink after drink, and the bartender says, "Buddy, what's the matter?" He says, "Well, my wife's not talking to me for a month." And the bartender said, "Well, that may not be such a bad thing." He said, "Well, today's the last day." So if this happens to you, you better have Aaron Cohn, the attorney at law, programmed in your cell phone. 561-655-8020. 561-655-8020. Aaron Cohn, specializing in traffic, criminal, DUI. He's the man you want at your side if you wind up standing next to a judge.
Well, the phones are open here, so 888-565-1470. If you have some comments, they might want to talk to you.
What we do, no criticism?
No criticism.
Yeah, okay.
He won't take
no
that.
problems
No
today.
problem.
It's a good day. Why take that? If you want to give up Presidential Auto, the only place to buy a car and get it fixed.
Well, you've been there quite often.
Yeah, I bought several cars from them, and they carry Mercedes and Porsches and Buicks and Toyotas. And if you want to lease a car, they can get you a lease deal better than any dealer. They'll get you the deal you want.
I want a Bentley.
We're working on that.
Oh,
I got 5 of. I actually have all 6 of the lotto numbers picked out. Now,
Okay.
if they pick the same ones, you're in.
Oh, I really appreciate
All right,
it.
so I've done my part. Now, if you call the state, if you have any
Okay,
questions,
but Presidential will call Presidential for that car.
You want to give them the number to call here,
yeah.
please.
561-266-0009. That's 561-266-0009.
We're going to talk about Gold's Gym for a minute. Actually, Gold's Gym has a great shirt for Russell. I didn't get a chance to swing by and pick it up. But next week, Russell will be muscle shirting it here on the Sales Mojo show.
All right. So,
A couple of extra reps and
get a small shirt.
A couple of extra reps in the gym. One thing I wanted to bring up, the Zumba dance in Port St. Lucie, the date has been changed. It's no longer September 17th. We're going to put the numbers up on the screen in just a few seconds, and we'll read them to you. But it's still going to be on. They moved it to October, probably waiting for more snowbirds to come back. But Gold's Gym has 4 locations. They are a fantastic gym. They support us. We support them. They got everything from, like I said, flipping those tractor tires over in the back to having a more normal workout on the inside like we do. And we thank them for being on, and we'll give you those numbers in just a little bit. And let's see, we covered Presidential and Aaron and Gold's Gym and Culligan. I think we're ready to roll the show a little bit. We'll leave Gold's Gym up if you want. That's fine. So you lost a huge customer. Oh, by the way, the phones are open. Give them the number one more time.
Okay, that's 888-565-1470. 888-565-1470.
I found out that there was a delay between the phone and the show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Alan taught me there was a delay. So I'm giving them a little extra minute to
There's always a
call.
delay, huh?
Who knew?
Based on what someone may say?
Yeah, this is true, too, right? There's a delay. So you lost a huge customer. Okay? So why did that happen? Why did it happen? Was it just, did you get too familiar with them? Did you forget to always be closing and always be selling? Did you lose communication with the little people who are actually using your product? You know, you get in with the guy who signed the paper, and all of a sudden, all the people that you spent all that time talking about the product and teaching the product or service, they're not important to you anymore. But it's always the little people who control the money, and it's always the money. So you got a decision maker who's told by a bean counter, just like our eulogy in the beginning, that we're going to buy this crap from China, and we're going to save 22%. And the guy there says, okay, I don't care what my people get. I have found through the years that if you want to affect a change in an organization, you have to affect the change from the bottom. Because picture yourself using software every day or a mechanic with a certain kind of wrench or whatever, and all of a sudden one day the boss comes to you and says, we're getting rid of all that and we're getting this. And you don't know how to use it and you're uncomfortable with it or you just don't like it. Well, it's the little people who are affected. But then again, it's already been done, so what are they going to say? But very often, the powers to be will go to one of the worker bees and ask them, what do you think of this? And if they are not 100% on your team, then they're not going to help you. But if they are, then they will. And you need to continue to sell I go back to Randy, that young lady that was on here, who after she sold her copier and office equipment would go back to the people that were physically actually using it and make sure they were happy and they were trained and they were in tune. And then when the boss came and said, hey, the copier's up, what do you want to do? They're going to say, man, get another one from Randy. Get one just like this. Okay? Because the guy who signs the paper is only considering one thing. And you know what that is?
The bottom line.
Money. Money, 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 money. And the end user of the product, if they should also know the lease is up, things are changing, competition is in here trying to get us out. Okay, this is your army when you're not there. And this is why I spend so much money on donuts and little things like that for the people who physically use my product. So not that I'm going to buy them with a donut, but they remember my name. If not, they got more important things to remember. So the other question is, this change came from some bean counter downstairs. How come the customer didn't know this was going to happen? Because it's not up to them. They're not in control. The money is always in control. So if somebody got in there and said, hey, we have a similar product, we bring it in from China, it'll save you 22%. The only thing they hear is similar and 22%. They don't care about anything else. Okay? It's your job as a salesperson, as a closer, as a professional, to maintain control. And remember that your customer doesn't know itself. I'll tell you a story. I have a perfect example. I knew a guy who told me that American men have sex 2 times a year, and Japanese men have sex 2 times a week. He always thought he was Japanese. It turned out he was definitely American. Okay? So it's they don't know, you don't know what's coming. The guy downstairs knows it's coming. When he comes upstairs to announce that change, he has to hit an army of no's. No, 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 no. Okay? So the underlying factor that makes a person change is because usually they're told to change. All right, now here's a perfect example. Another one. This is a close your eyes story.
Except if you're driving.
Except if you're driving.
Don't close your eyes.
A small plane is flying over Papua New Guinea, and it crashes. Mm-hmm. And laying next to the plane is this beautiful, buxom blonde in a long white dress, which is covered in soot, and it's smoking from where it was burned, and she's alive but barely alive. And they're in the middle of nowhere. The first ones on the scene are a cannibal and his son. And they're standing over looking at this woman, and the little boy with the bone in his nose and the stick with the head on it, he turns to his father and he says, "Dad, should we eat her?" And the father says, "Let's take her home and eat your mother." Okay? What makes people change? There is no better example of change than that. So, what if it isn't the money? There are times that money is not involved. Now, I know guys that flip their cars every couple of months. Why? Because they can. But what if money is not in the equation? And that's what we're going to talk about. Are we right on schedule?
Yep.
Yeah, we are. We're going to talk about that when we get back.
Hey, business owners, are you frustrated because you can't find great salespeople? You know, the kind that close the deal and bring in the cheddar? Advertise your open sales positions on the salesmojoshow.com. You get live mentions and web career finder presence Wednesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. on WNN 1470 AM. The Sales Mojo Show will have therapy sessions for salespeople, helping them find, sell, and close prospects, as well as offering a simple way to find a great sales career job. Your job. Hit up the employee line at thesalesmojoshow.com and tune in Wednesdays 7 to 8 p.m. on WNN 1470 AM and close the deal.
Ugh, look at this glass.
I know. Spots.
The problem is your water.
Hey, Culligan man.
A Culligan whole house water conditioning system gets rid of sediment and impurities, so everything is spotless. The only water that comes with the Culligan man.
Okay, we're supposed to remind you of Presidential Auto on Federal Highway Boca Raton. Their phone number, 561-266-0009. If you need service or if you're looking for a vehicle, new, used, or indifferent, they'll also find you an exotic or the car of your dreams. And give them a call. I can't recommend anybody any more highly. And we found yet another number for Culligan, which is 561-966-9333. That's 561-966-9333. And I want to ask Freddie to put up the Gold's Gym numbers, and when they come up, we'll break in and we'll talk about it. But first, I'm going to tell you that after a night of hard drinking, the guy woke up and found himself next to a really ugly woman. Then he realized he made it home safely. But what if he didn't? Well, that's when you need Aaron Cohn, attorney at law, programmed in your phone. Aaron Cohn, 561-655-8020. We appreciate your support. And, Freddie, whenever you have a chance, throw the Gold's Gym numbers up there, and we'll break what we're doing. And the phones are open, and the number is?
888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470. And
we are right on time for the phones to be open. Look at the rhythm we're getting here. Okay, the Gold's Gym, Port St. Lucie, 772-878-7662. That is where they're having the Zumba class. It's been moved to October. You can call and ask for Renard, and he will tell you what's going on. They have 4 locations. The one over on Hillsborough, is the one that I visit where Mark is. They're a fantastic gym. We highly recommend them.
Okay.
So now, let's see. Charity, ignore the date on that. I didn't tell anybody that it changed. And it's Zumba, not a Yumba. It's definitely a Zumba. I don't know what a Yumba is. I don't Zumba, but I know I don't a Yumba. All right? I'll do that. We always talk how practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. And, okay, here's something. So Russell's cell phone's going off. It's kind of a ridiculous dial tone, or ringer tone. We'll talk about that. But how many salespeople walk into an office with their phone? Okay, if you're going into someone's office, you should not have your phone with you. If it's with you, it's on vibrate or silent. But if a customer is interrupted by your phone, you lost that guy. And I'll tell you, I am guilty of that. I carry more than one phone. Sometimes my briefcase is dancing across the floor. And I have to remember to take them out and throw them in the car. And I give a lot of credit to those who have trained themselves to do that. Now, you and I, well, we have our phones in here. Mine's acting as a clock, and yours is obviously entertainment factor. But salespeople, you have to remember to leave everything behind. We're going to talk about communication in a minute. But first, I want to talk about practice makes permanent. You know, I did practice what I'm doing tonight because it was a long eulogy and all those things. And hell, it wasn't perfect, but I'm not perfect. Well, hopefully, the mistakes I made will not stay with me. Okay, you can call in 888-565-1470. We are ready to take calls when you're ready to call. But we want to talk about how to turn this negative that happened to us into a positive. So you have a giant account, and they go to a cheaper product, and you're not going to get them back because once the powers to be save money, they're not coming home. They're gone. However, you can go to other like businesses or other customers and say, today I lost the Russell Johnson Company. They went and bought this cheap Chinese crap, and I can't believe it. And you can ask them, how do you feel about Chinese stuff and import stuff? And, I asked 100 women in the shower, what is your favorite soap? You know what the most popular answer was?
What?
How the hell did you get in here? But, Alan, we're going to do a little American spot here because I think it's time to first thank our police who are under attack. I want to thank you guys every day for running towards trouble when I'm driving like hell to get away from it. And but I want to talk to you about the companies that use this Chinese crap as a selling point to your existing customers and the ones that buy it. And you can use their story to warn the others that deep in the bowels of their own company, there may very well be a team of bean counters trying to save money who are willing to forsake the quality and the loyalties that they have built over the years, such as yours. And you can launch yourself into a full-fledged presentation just by bringing up the fact, like I do, that we are an American family business in Florida and Georgia, and we support the local economy, and we hire local people, and that gets their attention, and it's the truth, and it's a great thing. And you should tell everybody, especially right now, buy American. You got a cannon for me? Let me feel a cannon. Hold on. Buy American. Did it go off?
Yep.
I've heard that before too many times. Okay. So we're going back to communicate. He's still shooting.
4th of July coming up soon.
There you go. Soon. Yeah, another 11 months. We're going to go back to communication since the cell phone went off. Communication is truly a lost art. Okay, you can walk down any street and you see people walking without even looking at you. They're looking at their phones. They're texting. It scares the hell out of me. I'm driving on the highway, and they go flying by me without even looking. They're looking at their phones. You see 4, 5, 6 people in a car, and they're not talking to each other. They're all on their phones. Okay, my kid texts me from the bedroom. Okay, it's unbelievable. Nobody communicates anymore. Now, for me, I started as a talker. Right, I learned to communicate. I was about 9 years old. I got a part in a school play, and I came running home all excited. And I told my mom and dad, I said, I got a part in the school play. I'm going to be a husband. And my father insisted I go back and get a speaking part. So I did. But communication today, I called somebody today and I got a message that said the mailbox is full.
Mm-hmm.
So they couldn't even take a message. And I don't know how many messages it takes to fill a mailbox, but if somebody's taking messages and not emptying the mailbox, well, that doesn't do anybody any good, right? So cell phones, if their mailbox is full, you don't want to call this guy. But how do you reach him then? So I dug down into my list of things I used to do to reach people. And, times have changed, but the old things still work, okay? There are a lot of people that have never heard my jokes. Some of my jokes are as old as I am, but they haven't heard them because everything is cyclical. So I used to staple a candy bar to a brochure with my card. So they could sit and take a break and eat a candy bar, and they could, they have my card and they'd read about my product. Well, don't use nuts because you don't want to be the guy who threw the whole office into an anaphylactic shock. Okay? I could picture the hairlines. Salesman poisons entire office because they wouldn't sign the deal, right? So that means my fax number is, but a greeting card in the mail. I've talked about this before. Snail mail. When they get a greeting card, they don't know what it is. And I'll tell you something. I get these cards from investment firms that want to control your portfolio and all these other things. And they're not handwritten. They're computer written to look like handwriting in some lame off blue ink. And you know what? I don't open those. I just throw them out. I think if you're going to handwrite an envelope and you're going to make a mistake and you're going to cross out a letter and you'd be you. Okay, my penmanship is so bad I almost became a doctor. But when I send an envelope, people open it. And when you send a card, I send thank you cards. I bought these cards with a tank on it to say many tanks. Okay? I love sending cards to people. If somebody won't see me after a number of times, I'll send them a card. And I'll say, I've been attempting to see you. I know you're busy. If you give me 5 minutes, you earn the privilege of me leaving you alone after that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them will see me just to get rid of me. And then I have in front of them and I have a chance to close them. You can't close somebody you can't get in front of. If you've got a magazine featuring your product, you can leave that behind. They might just flip through it. You can go to the dollar store. I love the dollar store. They got all these little games and toys, these little solar things that, flowers go back and forth. I bought a bunch of them for the people in my office just the other day. You can buy a coffee cup. You got a phone call. Okay, send them in.
You're on there. Hello.
Hi, Ira.
Yo.
There?
We are here.
Hey,
are you there?
Mike Swedenberg. Yes, I'm here.
Speak away. You're on the air.
Okay, Ira. It's Mike Swedenberg.
Hello, Michael. Always happy to have a classically trained salesman.
The master closer.
And how are you, Russ? It's good to hear you.
Fine, sir. Tell us how to close, how to make sales. Tell us how to.
Yes. All right. Ira has been talking about what do you do when you lose a whale? What do you do when you lose a big account?
Right.
And I just want to take a couple of minutes and talk about the old Procter & Gamble 60-40 rule, which is a policy that worked very well for me throughout my business life. And basically it means in any given situation, 60% of something will go one way, and the other 40% will go another way. Now, we can go into a long discussion on this, and that's probably good for another segment and how it applies to business. But on the subject of what do you do when you lose a whale, well, everyone loves winning a big account. But you must worry that it does not account for more than 40% of your business, and that goes to the 60-40 rule. If it creeps higher than your business becomes dependent on that one account. All too often, I've known reps who were devastated when they lost a big account because they'd become complacent and they were just sitting back, bringing in the business. Some of them even lost their jobs because they couldn't dig out of the hole. And I know small businesses that were forced into bankruptcy because they had hooked their wagon up to one big account and it accounted for 80% 40% of their business.
Wow.
And when they lost that business, and it does happen, they went out. They were gone. So on the topic of replacing the whale, if you lose it, it can be done by finding enough smaller accounts to replace the lost revenue. But it is stressful. It is a situation you do not want to be in, and most people fail at it. What I suggest is an easier approach, and it's guaranteed to work. Don't wait. Assume the worst. And when you land that big account, start looking to add enough smaller ones to increase your sales and revenue to keep the whale at or below 40% of your total business. Then if and when you get that dreaded phone call, you won't go into full-blown panic mode.
Well, you'll still
Now,
panic, but you won't lose 80% of your income.
Exactly. Now, you might be thinking, well, this is easier said than done, but not really. Let's say you're a field sales rep and you sell office equipment. We like to pick on office equipment sales reps. So you land a whale with 25 local offices, and each one needs a high-speed copier. They need a secured shredder. Each office has 10 or 15 employees. They either need a desktop or they need an iPad to run their business. They need enterprise software to run all this stuff. You hit pay dirt, and the revenue now accounts for 80% of your business. Well, you go out and you celebrate, and that's fine, right, because you earned it. The next day, what you do is you parlay that success by calling on other companies surrounding your client's satellite offices. And since you are already there, you're going there on a regular basis to do maintenance work and to add new equipment. It's very easy for you to step out of their office, and instead of going back to your home office, you start canvassing the businesses surrounding that satellite office. And even if you only spend an hour a day doing this, you will eventually build up a lot of small accounts that can replace that one satellite office if you lose the whole thing. And say within 6 months, you have enough small businesses to replace or to keep that whale below 40%. But this means you have to have good records, and you have to know how much the whale brings in and how much each small account can generate. You can't guess. You have to do your homework. Then, if you lose that whale, instead of scrambling to keep your head above water, going through a stressful situation, you experience a minor setback, you still have 60% of your business, and now you can focus on bringing in another whale. And that's my suggestion.
Well, that's a good one. And I'll tell you, we call that the hub and spoke, kind of like what the airlines do. They use Atlanta as a place to bring in the feeder planes from everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
When you do a hub and spoke type sales organization for yourself, you own the whole block. Eventually, everybody's doing business with you. You're doing business with the whale. Everybody around there knows. You say, look, I'm going to be all the time servicing them. Why don't you take advantage of that and let me service you? Because I'm going to be here anyway. You're going to get better service and better care than you would if you were out in Podunk somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? What that does a number of things. Number one, it keeps competition out. Because if they can't get a small account, they're certainly not going to get to the big account. So you build a perimeter around your area, around your territory, and then you can grow it out from that. You could grow it out like pouring water on the ground and watching it spread. You just keep working in a spiral. And you always start in the center. You take care of your biggest account, and then you take care of everybody else. It's really that's a great suggestion, Mike. It works terrific because it's time management. Salesman's enemy is time, especially if you're out in the street. Salesman's enemy is time. Now, if you're a phone salesperson or you're a computer marketer, an email marketer, a multi-level marketer, it's the same thing. Because it's a lot easier. Someone on the corner will hear you shout a lot sooner than someone 2 blocks away. And you can use local references to help you push that business. And again, this is Procter & Gamble, one of the biggest companies that ever was. that spent all this time and money in teaching guys like Mike, who remember it, how to do it so he can impart it upon us. And this is something that companies don't do anymore. This is why we have this show, and this is why we have people like Mike Swedenberg, who's a brilliant author, salesman. I mean, if he has worked with me, for me, and around me forever. And it's the kind of guy you want because he thinks of these things and he projects it to other people. Plus, instrumental in Dinosaur Droppings. If you haven't read it yet, you can get it on the Sales Mojo Show website. You can get it on iBook. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Barnes & Noble. It's everywhere. In fact, Mike, it's now up for print on Amazon. Is that what I understand?
Yes, that was my next note. I was going to congratulate you that this morning at about 8:30, it became available on Amazon.com in print and as an ebook. But between the two, my personal preference is I like to have a book in my hand when I read. I'm still old school, and so I recommend you get the print version of Dinosaur Droppings, and just go to Amazon.com and either type in Dinosaur Droppings or Ira Lavotsky, and
Easy
it'll
for
come up
you to
with a list
say.
of all his books. So it's a real easy thing to buy, and if you're a Prime customer on Amazon, you get free shipping. So you can't beat that deal.
There you go. And what is the title of that? He wrote a really funny book. What's the title of that book you wrote? The worst book ever written? What was it called? What's that thing called?
It's called A Dark and Stormy Night.
A Dark and Stormy Night. But somewhere on the cover it says the worst book ever written, doesn't it?
Yes,
It's worth every penny. It's very funny. It's a great book.
Thank you so much.
And so is The Road Warrior and Wedding Wars. And check out Mike Swedenberg on the. You can go onto the Sales Mojo Show website and click on the Wisdom tab, and that will lead you right to Mike's website. So he's a contributor. He's going to be a regular contributor. It's great to have you aboard. You bring a level of authority to the show. Okay, I should say credibility because I don't bring any. But I thank you very much. We're going to move on.
You do actually you do, because the good thing about Dinosaur Droppings and Ira's show is that even with me and my 40 years of sales experience, I forget stuff. And just listening to his show made me, it refreshes my memory. And it reminds me to do things and to go out. And when I'm dealing with the customer, just like that advice you gave about how to care for a customer once you open it, because the sale doesn't stop once they sign the paper. You have to go back in and you have to train the employees, and you have to get them on your side, because Ira is absolutely right. I've gone into situations with a better product and a better price, only to have the customer say, I'm happy with who we have. They take great care of us. Even if it's a little bit better product and a little bit better money, I'm not switching.
Well, I'm going to tell you, besides the great wisdom you impart on the show and the fact that you support Dinosaur Droppings and all of my books, I want to thank you because I'm going to replay to my wife the part where you said Ira is absolutely right over and over and over again. All right, Mike, we're going to let you go. We're going to remind the rest of you out there that you can call into this show. This is not a one-way show. It can be if you wish. But 888-565-1470. We wait for the calls. We welcome the calls, good, bad, or indifferent. But let's talk about calls. So I try and call a guy, and his mailbox is full. That's the most annoying thing in the world. And I can give you a list of numbers in my phone that the mailboxes are full of people I try and reach. You text somebody, you got spell check in your phone, and I dictate through my Bluetooth in the car. I dictate my texts and my emails. God knows what's going to come out the other end. I read some of them at night, and I can't understand what the hell I was asking for. So technology is not the answer. So if you need to reach out to somebody, you need to do it in a way other than a phone call or a text. How about walking in? You know, it's more difficult to get into buildings now than it used to. Okay? It used to be a lot easier. I've done a lot of things to get into buildings in my day that I'm not going to teach on the radio. but there are accessible customers that you can get to, and it doesn't hurt to go in and introduce yourself to the person at the desk, the receptionist or whatever, and say, how would I set up an appointment to see this person? Or, I'm here. Maybe he's got just 10 seconds so I can introduce myself. And if the guy gives you 10 seconds, go in and introduce yourself. And say, I asked for 10 seconds, but if you got 10 more, I'll show you something cool.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's got 10 more, you damn well better have something cool to show him. Okay? Because if you walk in there and waste his time, you will never get back. And that's, you got to put a little backbone into it, because it's the effort that makes the difference. All right? And they say that luck favors the prepared, but results favor the fully invested and those that are different. And the easiest explanation for that is, birds of a feather flock together, and then they all crap on your car. All right? So be different. Give us a little prayer on that there.
Well, Lord, help me. Keep your arms around my shoulders and your hand over my mouth.
Amen. And Alan's going to show us what he grew up with. Throw a little music in there, man. And we are live through this.
Whatever I want, and baby, I want you.
We need a new water softener.
I'm on it.
Dude, don't do it yourself.
Hey, Culligan man.
With the Culligan Whole House Water Softening System, you get better water and expert service. The only water that comes with the Culligan man.
Hey, we're back after a quick Culligan break. And just to mention, Culligan is still looking for salespeople. They are a fast-growing company in an industry that just won't quit.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking everywhere in Florida, from Miami all the way up to Tallahassee. So if you live in Florida and you're looking for a career, and what was that, 40, 50, how much was that money we looked at?
$40,000 to $130,000.
There are people out there making 130 G's selling water.
Wow,
and I
that's
tell
serious.
you what, you turn on a faucet, you see what comes out, and you can understand that this is something people want to buy. Okay,
Call Culligan 561-966-9333. That's 561-966-9333.
Now I'll tell you, today I didn't get home yet, but I'm hoping I got a box of Soul at home for me, because I just ran out my monthly supply.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fantastic supplement that I'm taking. It's aiding in my. I tell you what, I haven't had any for 2 or 3 days, and I'm hungrier than I used to be. Okay, it was really different. Give them your elevator pitch on what this stuff does.
Well, it's a product that people are taking. It's a new category creation. It's seed technology. You get black cumin seed, black raspberry, Chardonnay, grape seed, all mixed together with a little sweetener called D-ribose, which your body produces. And that gets into your system, and it gets you 8 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables, omega-3, 6, and 9s, and also, 4.5 grams of fiber. So it works well.
There's a man that knows his product, ladies and gentlemen. If you knew your product as well as this guy did, you'd be out there ripping the covers off the book. But I'll tell you what, you watch these infomercials and all these things where they're getting back to juicing and all natural and not frozen and all this other stuff. And that's what this is. This is the actual seeds. I don't know anything about the science. Russell talked me into trying it, and I'm the biggest skeptic that you ever saw. And I tried it, and I liked it, and now I use it, and now I'm waiting for my box to come.
You've only got 9 different patents on it, FDA patents for high blood pressure, diabetes, arthritic pain, and fibromyalgia. It works.
Okay, and I'm with it too. Now, you can find Soul
on your website.
On the website, on the Sales Mojo Show Products We Endorse tab. And also, you can make a little money on this. It is if you like it and you get other people to buy it, you're making money. And they are making money. It's a big company.
That's doing very well.
And it's growing quickly, so you're never making enough money. You got a couple of spare minutes a day. This is an excellent place to take it. And I thank Russell for bringing me into that. There's no guaranteed income. There are no real guarantees in life, I've found. They say condoms don't guarantee safe sex. I got a friend that was wearing one when he got shot by the woman's husband. So there was no safety there, you know. But hard work and research. Like Russell knows his product, and he knows a lot of stuff. He's a PhD. He's not a dummy, but he really knows what he's doing when it comes to this, because everything he told me is true. So you tell the truth, and you try not to close just once, but you close again and again and again. And not only with one sales pitch, but everything that you know. You know, if you give a pitch, a presentation to somebody and they don't buy, give the same presentation a different way. And the best way to give a presentation the second time is to ask the customer what they want to hear. So I told you about it. I told you what's in it. I told you what it tastes like. I told you that the sweetener is a product made by your own body, which I didn't know, but I never listened to you, so I'll start, maybe. I told you all these things. What else would you like to know about it? Because you need, even if you say no, you need to know everything. I want you to make an intelligent decision. So someone might say to you, "Well, how does it come? Is it in a bottle? Is it a pill? What is it?"
It's in a box, a little sleeve of 2 ounce, and you just tear it open. You rip it, squeeze it, sip it.
So it's like all these new baby food packages.
Absolutely.
You see these little kids. They're
So when
actually
you travel,
riding along and eating.
And when you travel, you can take it with you. It's real simple. You don't have and no breakage.
All right. Well, see, there's another thing. I asked a question that a customer would probably ask. We're getting down on time already. Huh? How many minutes we got? 2 or 3 minutes left?
Maybe about 7.5.
Okay, 7.5.
Yes.
I bought this cheap Chinese clock.
Oh.
See? I got a hell of a deal. No, I was rushing because I got a hell of a deal on it. Okay? But so the depth of your knowledge is very important, because here I came back and asked Russell a question. So how many are in a box?
30.
There's 30 in a box. So basically one a day if you take one a day.
If you take one a day, sometimes I do 2 or 3 a day.
Okay, and it costs like $50-$60 for 30 days?
About $65 for 30 days.
All right, so it's costing you about $2 a day.
About that.
So for $2 a day, you get to take something that helps your blood pressure and your digestion.
Absolutely.
And it definitely, the antioxidants help my recovery, because I'm not a young kid in there in the gym. Okay, and chasing that carrot on a string all day gets
tough.
It gets hard.
It gets hard.
And you can order that on the website simply by clicking on Soul.
Absolutely. It's right on your website.
But you could read all the research?
Absolutely. You can go to lifeconcentrated.com, and it's a 6-minute video, teach you everything about it.
Okay.
Simple.
So now, how do you learn all this about your product? Back in the day, I was told to go home and pitch it to my elevator operator or my mirror or my mother or myself or my neighbors, and that's all true, but none of them are going to buy it. So what's the best way to become a successful salesman? Is go out and hear no. No, no, no. And I'll tell you, when you start to hear yes, as long as you're paying attention to what you're saying, you're not just letting your mouth run without your brain, which is a disease we all have. But if you try this, and then you try that, and then you try this, and you just keep going, because nobody's just going to walk by and say, you've been trying real hard, I'm going to hand you a check. Okay? You have to keep trying. And I know with Culligan, we brought to market a product where we took the big blue bottles off the top of the coolers and we made everything come through kinetics and reverse osmosis. And you had to explain all this to people who just wanted to know, how much is it? And why do I want to spend the money? But what it came down to what I call sensory selling. Now, sensory selling, I talk about it a lot in Dinosaur Droppings. It's one of the scientific things I believe in. Sensory selling means if they taste the water, they believe in the water. I used to give lectures, public speaking, training for salespeople, and I would call 2 or 3 up on the stage. In fact, one of them, 25 years ago, was Don Murray, who's called in before. I remember in Vegas I did this, and I'd call him up on the stage. I'd have a $100 bill, and I'd say, sell me this pound of coffee. And each one of them would come up and try and sell me the pound, and they'd never seen it. They didn't know what they were going to sell. It was totally, we may have a phone call. let me interrupt myself.
Well, Culligan,
is that for me or for you?
No, we have Dan from Buffalo
Dan,
on the phone.
Buffalo, New York.
Dan from Buffalo.
Dan, you're on the air. Go right ahead.
Hey guys, how's it going?
How's it going for you?
It's going well, going well. Just wanted to call in and comment on the replacing the whale, that big account you lost. I completely agree. 100% need to supplement with, smaller partners, but with more partners come more problems. So, you still need to replace that whale. I agree. You definitely throw that net out there, touch as many targeted people as you can, but at the same time, a whale's a whale, and, 1 million pounds of fish next to 1 million pound whale, say the same thing on the scale, but a whale's still a whale.
And that's a great point that nobody else, including me, Russell, and anybody else thought of, is that you get a whole lot of little people, but there are other whales out there.
Exactly.
There's always
you don't want
a
to
whale.
spread yourself too thin. You're only, whether you're on a team or individual,
He's right.
your resources are limited. You need to spend your time wisely.
Well, that's a Sales Mojo T-shirt waiting to happen.
Yeah, that's a whale. It's a whale.
Alan will take your information. He's already nodding his head. And real important point. Somebody took a whale from you. Go take one from somebody else.
Absolutely.
Okay, and
More
not
whales
everybody
out there.
wants cheap. And usually when you lose a big account, you either serviced it so poorly you don't deserve it, or somebody came in there and just blew your doors off with price, which they may have done just to get the account, and then they'll inch it up until they're charging the same thing anyway.
That happens.
Great suggestion, Dan.
Why, thank you, sir.
Well, thank you for calling in.
So, Jan, you are a good salesman.
I try to be.
What do you sell, and where do you place in the hierarchy of your sales team?
I sell network security, and I'm a business development executive.
Okay.
So he doesn't do Barry stuff. He does the important stuff.
I hear you.
There you go. But Barry stuff, important stuff, either one, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
A whale is a whale is a whale.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Tell me about that.
Excellent. All right, we're short on time. Thanks for calling in, Dan. Alan, would you take his information, please? Thank you. Got 3 or 4 minutes yet to go. We are going to continue on with this topic that we're on, which is sensory selling. And here's how it works. It's a real simple example. I had 3 people on a stage. I gave them a pound of coffee. The first person took the bag and read from it. Said, this coffee's from Colombia. It's coarsely ground. It makes 72 cups. It's this, that, and the other thing. And they showed it to me, and I said, thank you. The second person took the bag, said the same things, but then also told me it's on sale. Buy one bag, get another one free. And I said, okay, so there's an improvement on the first presentation. Mm-hmm. And the third guy, who happened to be Don Murray, that super salesman, even so many years ago, he took the bag and he ripped it open. He said, smell this. Wouldn't you like to have a cup of this? Bang, $100.
Wow.
Okay? Because here's somebody that understands the value of experiencing. And that's why when Starbucks started, they were walking up and down 2nd Avenue in Manhattan giving people cups of coffee. Back in the day when you weren't afraid to take it from a stranger wearing a backpack with coffee in it, right? But sensory selling, getting them to touch, feel, see. You can't do that with a cell phone call. You can't do that with a text message. I got a text message that just came in. Just logged into the show, enjoying it. All right, well, it'll be on YouTube tomorrow. I knew that answer. Oh, look at that. He knew the answer to the question. Okay, well, thank you.
He gets a T-shirt.
From New Jersey. He's already got his T-shirt. He called in last week.
Oh, good.
It's nice. We have a loyal following of people. We're definitely selling Dinosaur Droppings books. I also recommend Adventures of Sparky. Sparky number 3, which is not yet titled, is coming out for Christmas. So you got to read number 1 and number 2 to get to number 3. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Adventures of Sparky, Dinosaur Droppings, Occupy This, Recovering from Heart Surgery, Going Home. All of these are available on the library link on the Sales Mojo Show website on Closing Mofo. And to bring up Closing Mofo in the closing minutes here, we do have our Certificate of Achievement test, which will be coming up in 2 weeks. You see it on the upper right-hand corner of the screen as well as right here. We are going to be having our test online. We'll announce it in the next week or two. Mm-hmm. You take the test, you pass the test, and you become an FSC, a Find 'em, Sell 'em, Close 'em. And that is coming. So I think we're probably close now. How many minutes have I got? A very short time. Oh, look at that. Okay,
wrap up.
Let's remember, make extra cold calls every day. Don't just try something once and give up. You might just surprise yourself and make some money.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you treat your customers as the way you want to be treated. When things aren't going your way, when sales are down, when times are tough, that is the time to go out and do more. When the weather sucks, that is the time to be the only one banging on doors. And it's okay to be wet and cold and dirty, whatever you got to be to get in there, to show that you're putting forth the effort and that you're beating your feet on the street. Because sales don't come to those who wait. I'm looking toward, there we go.
That's the end of the show.
That's it. We're closing up the Sales Mojo Show. We thank you.
1470 a.m.
And we're on YouTube tomorrow.
Right, and we'll be here next week.
And
same
you can
time,
also
same place,
see
same
the replay
station.
on our website. We welcome you all. Go to the Sales Mojo Show website.
Mm-hmm.
And closingmofo.com is another way to get in. And thank you all for coming along for the ride.
1470 next week, right here. Same place, same time, same station.
We need a new water softener.
I'm on it.
Dude,
Oh.
don't do it yourself.
Hey, Culligan man.
With the Culligan Whole House Water Softening System, you get better water and expert service. The only water that comes with the Culligan Man.
Talk 1470 WNN is now available.